The lone warship appears. The galaxy had been at war for so long that no one remembered who fired the first shot. Entire star systems were turned into battlefields, planets burned, fleets clashed, and empires grew tired, yet the fighting never ended. For the aliens who ruled the stars, war was just a way of life. On one side stood the Vorok, a proud empire of reptilian warriors. Their ships were heavy and brutal, built to smash anything in their path. On the other side were the Zyral, tall insectoid creatures with fast and sharp fleets. They believed speed and numbers would always overwhelm their enemies. For generations, the Vorok and Zyral fought each other, and neither could win. Both sides agreed on one thing. Humanity did not matter. Humans were small, new to space, weak and quiet. They had no great fleets, no powerful empires, and no place in the Great War. The galaxy laughed at humans, calling them children playing with ships too small to notice. That belief shattered in one single moment. It began with a signal, deep in the middle of the war zone, where thousands of ships battled. A strange reading appeared on long-range scanners. A single ship was crossing the border. At first, the Vorok thought it was a damaged vessel, maybe a lost freighter. The Zyral thought the same. But as the scanners grew clearer, they saw it. A warship. Human. Impossible, hissed a Vorok commander as he stared at the display. His crew looked nervous. A single human ship in the center of their war zone made no sense. The Zyral fleet circling nearby also caught the signal. Their voices clicked and echoed over their comms. Why would the humans send one ship? Are they mad? Are they begging for death? The ship itself moved slowly but with purpose. Its dark hull reflected little light. Its shape was sharp, long and silent. It carried no markings of surrender, no sign of distress. Instead, it moved forward, straight into the heart of the battlefield. The Vorok admiral laughed. Perhaps the humans have grown bold. Perhaps they wish to prove themselves. One ship against thousands, a joke. He gave the order to fire. Yet something in his voice betrayed unease. Weapons locked on, missiles armed, energy cannons ready. The Zyral, too, prepared their strike. But before a single shot left their barrels, strange whispers spread among the crews. Reports began to pour in from scouts at the edge of the battlefield. This is no ordinary vessel, one Zyral pilot cried. It carries weapons we do not understand. Another report followed. Its shielding is unreadable. Our scans cannot break through. Panic began to stir. For in war, knowledge was power. And here was something they could not explain. The human warship did not fire. It simply kept moving forward, slow and steady, as if the fleets around it did not matter. As if thousands of alien ships were nothing more than shadows. Its engines glowed a faint blue. Quiet and calm, there was no hurry, no fear. The silence was more terrifying than any weapon. Commanders from both sides argued with each other. The Zyral accused the Vorok of calling humans as allies. The Vorok shouted back that this must be a Zyral trick. Their arguments echoed across comms, growing louder, more desperate. But above it all, the human ship moved closer. Ignoring their noise, finally, one Vorok cruiser broke. The captain, shaking with both fear and anger, gave the order. A full barrage launched toward the human ship. Missiles, plasma bursts, and cannon fire filled space with deadly light. The Zyral watched eagerly, expecting the human vessel to shatter. But the warship remained untouched. A faint shimmer appeared around its hull as the attacks burned away into nothing. The energy vanished like water hitting stone, not even slowing the vessel down. The Vorok crew froze, their jaws open. That was impossible, whispered one. The Zyral grew nervous now. How can one ship carry such shields? They asked. None had answers. As the warship glided further into the war zone, alien fleets began to feel something they had not felt in years. Fear. This was no lost freighter, no mistake. This was a message. Inside every bridge, whispers spread. What if this is only one of many? What if humanity has more ships like this waiting? The thought shook them. If a single ship could survive against thousands, what could a fleet of them do? The human warship's silence was louder than any declaration of war. It was not firing, not retreating, only moving forward, steady as death. The galaxy trembled, not because of what the ship did, but because of what it might do. The commanders of both empires now faced a choice. Should they unite and attack, or should they wait and watch? Either way, they knew one thing. The arrival of this lone human warship had changed everything. And as the ship reached the center of the battlefield, its weapon systems lit up one by one. glowing like stars in the dark. The message was clear. The humans had come. The first strike. The alien fleets watched in silence as the human warship drifted deeper into the war zone. It glowed faintly under the light of nearby stars. Its weapons hummed softly like a sleeping beast. Both the Vurok and the Zirel had spent centuries fighting each other. But now every eye turned toward this one ship. The Vurok admiral broke the silence. His voice was filled with rage, but also with fear. "Destroy it," he ordered. "Show the humans their place." At his command, 50 Vurok warships turned their cannons. Engines flared, weapons locked. The sky lit up as a storm of fire tore across the void. Thousands of missiles streaked forward. Plasma beams cut through space, ion cannons roared. The battlefield shook with such power that nearby asteroids shattered into dust. The Zirel commanders leaned back, certain that the human ship would finally be turned into burning wreckage. But when the light faded, the human warship was still there. Its shields shimmered faintly, rippling like calm water struck by stones. Not a single scratch touched its black hull. The entire Vurok barrage had done nothing. The Zirel captains stared in disbelief. Their shields. "No, that is not possible," one hissed, others whispered. "Is this some kind of new technology? Did humans build this in secret?" Before anyone could answer, the human warship moved. It did not retreat, it advanced, straight toward the line of Vurok ships. Engines pulsed with controlled fury, and then it fired. The first shot was not a beam, not a missile, but something the galaxy had never seen. A lance of pure light cut through the void, moving faster than sensors could track. One Vurok cruiser vanished in an instant, cut in half as if space itself had torn it apart. Its explosion lit the battlefield. Panic struck the Vurok. What weapon was that? Their admiral shouted. How did it cut through armor like paper? But before he could demand more answers, the human ship fired again. Another lance of light, another warship gone. The Zirel fleet was frozen in awe. They had always mocked humanity. They had called humans weak, soft, and unworthy. Now they watched as one ship erased centuries of arrogance in a single moment. The Vurok tried to regroup. Their admiral screamed orders, "Close in! Surround it! Crush it with numbers!" Dozens of ships swarmed, their weapons blazing. Explosions wrapped around the human vessel, but the ship kept moving. Its shields pulsed like a living creature, absorbing everything. Then the human ship revealed another weapon. A silent pulse spread across space, invisible to the eye but deadly to machines. One by one, Vurok ships went dark. Their engines flickered, their weapons powered down. Crew screamed as controls failed. A whole squadron drifted powerless, caught like prey in a net. The Zirel commanders whispered to each other. "No empire has this power. Not us, not the Vurok, not even the ancients. How did humanity build this?" Fear grew into dread. The Zirel admiral felt sweat drip down his face. If this is what one ship can do, then what of a fleet? What of 100? He stared at the black vessel and felt his stomach twist. Humanity had never shown their hand before. But now it was clear, they had been hiding something all along. The human ship did not chase the disabled vessels. It simply glided forward past the burning wreckage, past the drifting husks of Vurok ships. Its silence spoke louder than any words. Across every comm channel, voices of panic rose. Some Zirel captains demanded they strike together before it was too late. Others cried that they must retreat, that fighting this ship was suicide. The Vurok refused to retreat, but their courage had cracks. None had ever seen a weapon like this, Mully. The Zirel admiral made a decision. "Test them," he whispered. "Send in the swarm." Hundreds of Zirel drones, small and fast, launched from carriers. They zipped across the battlefield like a storm of metal insects. Their purpose was to overwhelm any enemy with sheer numbers. They swarmed the human warship, firing from every angle, surrounding it in a cloud of destruction. For a moment it seemed the strategy worked. Explosions lit up the hull, the swarm thickened. The galaxy watched in tense silence. Then the warship changed. Panels along its sides opened, revealing rows of smaller weapons. They spun and rotated, firing with surgical precision. Each drone was cut down in a flash of light. Exploding one after another, in less than a minute, the swarm was gone. Thousands of drones destroyed. The Zirel admiral's hands shook. His own strategy, perfected over centuries, had been defeated in seconds. He leaned back, his voice hollow. "This is not a warship. This is a monster." The human vessel's path was now clear. Nothing stopped it, nothing slowed it. The fleets that once filled the battlefield now hesitated. Fear rippled across every commander. Every soldier, every mind faced the same question. If one ship could do this, what would happen when humanity sent more? The Vurok admiral slammed his claws against the command chair. His pride battled his terror. He wanted to crush the humans, but he could not deny the truth. His voice trembled as he spoke. This changes everything. The galaxy, which had laughed at humanity, now trembled. For the first time in centuries, the war between Vurok and Zarel paused. Both empires knew the truth. Humanity had entered the battlefield, and the universe would never be the same again. The human gambit. The battlefield was no longer a clash between empires. It had become a stage, and at the center of it stood one human warship, silent and unshaken. The wreckage of Vurok cruisers drifted in flames. Zyrel drones lay in broken fragments, and yet the ship did not celebrate. It simply advanced, steady and calm. The alien commanders, both Vurok and Zyrel, were paralyzed. Their voices trembled over the comms. Some shouted for retreat, others demanded an alliance, but no one truly knew what to do. They had always believed numbers decided wars. Now numbers meant nothing. As the warship moved deeper into the contested zone, its presence felt less like a vessel and more like a declaration. Humanity had been quiet for too long. They had watched the galaxy laugh, ignore, and underestimate them. But now the mask was gone suddenly. The ship's comms opened. A voice cut through the channels. Deep and calm, it was not mechanical, it was human. "This is Captain Rhodes of the Terran vessel Iron Resolve," the voice said. "We are not here to join your war. We are here to deliver a message." The words echoed across every alien fleet, translated instantly by universal systems. For a long moment, no one spoke. The Zyrel admiral finally found his voice, clicking in disbelief. Message, you destroy fleets?" For a message, but Captain Rhodes did not reply. Instead, the human ship demonstrated. Its engines flared brighter, and the vessel accelerated directly into the heart of both fleets. Entire squadrons scrambled out of its path. Afraid to block it, the Zyrel carriers shifted nervously. The Vurok battleships bristled with weapons, yet none dared fire. Then, without warning, the human ship unleashed something new. Not a weapon of destruction, but of control. From its hull spread a wave of light, invisible to the eye but captured on sensors. Every alien system flickered. Communication channels scrambled. Targeting systems failed. Even the stars themselves seemed to vanish as ships fell into silence, and then the warship's image appeared on every alien bridge. A hologram, forced onto their screens, showing Captain Rhodes himself. He was not armored, not decorated like an emperor. He was simply human, plain, with steady eyes. "You have fought for centuries," Rhodes said. His voice carried no anger, only certainty. "But your war ends the moment humanity steps into it. We did not come to conquer. We came to warn. The galaxy will not survive if your madness continues, and humanity will not stand aside any longer." Shock spread through the alien crews. Never had a human spoken so boldly. Never had one dared address empires as if they were children caught fighting in the dirt. The Zyrel hissed in outrage. The Vurok roared in fury. Yet their fear chained them. They had seen what the ship could do. They knew his words were not empty. To prove his point, the human ship turned slightly, targeting a dead star on the edge of the battlefield. Its weapons glowed, building power in a single pulse. A lance of energy tore through space and struck the star's husk. The husk shattered like glass, fragments scattering across the void. The battlefield fell silent. No one dared move, no one dared speak. The message was clear. Humanity did not need fleets to prove its strength. One ship was enough, but Rhodes was not finished. "You believe humans are weak? You believed we were children among giants. You were wrong. We do not seek your thrones. We do not want your broken empires, but if you bring war to us, remember what you saw here today." The hologram vanished, and the warship powered down its main weapons. It did not strike again. It did not chase fleeing ships. It simply continued forward, deeper into the war zone, as if daring anyone to stop it. The Zyrel fleets were in chaos. Their admirals debated furiously. Some believed humanity had developed technology stolen from ancient civilizations. Others swore this was only a trick. Yet none dared test it again. The Vurok were no better. Their warriors, usually fearless, sat trembling at their stations. One captain whispered, "We cannot win, not against them." Another replied, "If one ship can end us, what happens if there are more?" And that was the gambit. Humanity had revealed only a glimpse of its power, just enough to terrify, but not enough to answer the greatest question. Was this ship alone, or was it the first of many? That doubt spread faster than fire. Every alien commander felt it, every soldier whispered it. What if humanity had an entire fleet waiting in the dark? What if this was only a warning shot? What if Earth had been preparing all this time while the galaxy wasted itself in endless war? The war between the Vorok and Zirel suddenly felt meaningless. Their centuries of pride and hate collapsed under one terrible thought. Humanity was no longer a minor race. Humanity was the shadow hanging over them all. As the Iron Resolve glided through the wreckage of broken fleets, Captain Rhodes spoke once more, only to his own crew. "They will think we came to frighten them," he said quietly. "They are not wrong, but they do not yet understand. This is only the beginning." His words never reached the aliens. But they would soon learn. Humanity's gambit had been played, and the galaxy would never forget the shattered alliance. The battlefield hung in silence after the human ship passed. Vorok wreckage drifted like burning lanterns. Zirel debris floated in shards. The Iron Resolve did not chase, did not claim territory. It simply moved forward, as though everything around it was beneath its notice. For centuries, the Vorok and the Zirel had fought one another with endless hate. But now both fleets shared the same feeling, fear. Neither side spoke it aloud, but every captain, every crew member, carried the same thought. If one ship can do this, what will a fleet of humans bring? The Vorok admiral, claws gripping the edges of his command chair, tried to rally his officers. "We are Vorok," he growled. "We do not bow to cowards hiding behind tricks." But his words carried no fire. His crew had seen too much. Their eyes betrayed doubt across the lines. The Zirel admiral hissed, "This is no trick, this is a new power. A power that could wipe out both our empires," his officers argued, clicking in fear. Some demanded retreat. Others begged to ally with the humans before it was too late. But no one agreed, no one trusted the other. That was humanity's true strike. Not the lances of energy or the silent pulses, but the seeds of doubt. The humans had not destroyed both fleets. They had left them alive, alive to whisper, to fear, to suspect. Within hours, both empires began accusing each other, the Vorok declared. The Zirel must have invited humans to the battlefield. "They are using humans as their secret weapon," the Zirel shouted back. "No, the Vorok did this. They brought humans to frighten us into surrender." Old hatred flared. Even as the human warship floated ahead like a ghost, the Zirel and Vorok turned their anger back on one another. Blame was easier than facing the truth. The fragile talk of alliance cracked. Within moments, shots were fired. Vorok cruisers opened fire on Zirel carriers. Zirel drones swarmed Vorok destroyers. The war reignited, not because of strategy, but because fear demanded an enemy. Captain Rhodes stood on the bridge of the Iron Resolve. Watching through his screens, his face was calm, but his crew felt the weight of his silence. Finally, he spoke. "Do you see it? They cannot unite. Their hate runs deeper than their fear. They will tear themselves apart long before they face us together." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. They had destroyed ships before, but this was different. Rhodes was letting enemies kill each other without lifting a finger. The true weapon was not their cannons, it was their presence. As the Zirel and Vorok ripped into one another again, messages spread across their fleets. Stories exaggerated what the human warship had done. Some swore it had destroyed hundreds of ships with a single shot. Others claimed it carried a weapon that could erase entire stars. Fear twisted truth into legend, and legend was deadlier than any gun. On distant worlds, rumors reached the civilians. Zirel colonies whispered of the black ship that killed without mercy. Vorok citizens muttered of the Terran ghost that passed through fleets untouched. Panic grew, markets crashed, leaders demanded answers. Armies were ordered to prepare for a war no one understood. Back in the war zone, the two empires collapsed into chaos. Captains no longer obeyed orders. Some abandoned the fight and fled. Others turned on their own allies, believing spies and traitors had brought humans into their war. What began as a centuries-old conflict now fractured into madness. The human warship, without firing another shot, had undone an entire balance of power. On the bridge of the Iron Resolve, one of Rhodes's officers asked quietly, "Captain, should we strike again?" "While they are weak?" Rhodes shook his head, his voice was steady. "No, they are already broken. The galaxy will remember this day without us firing another weapon. He turned his gaze toward the endless stars ahead. Fear is the strongest weapon, and fear has already spread. Still, Rhodes knew this was only the beginning. The humans had revealed themselves. The empires would not forget, they would whisper. They would plan, they would scheme. Some would beg to ally, others would swear vengeance. But all of them would tremble whenever they thought of Earth. For the first time in living memory, the Vorok and Zyrel war did not matter. Their fight seemed small, meaningless, compared to the shadow of humanity, and in the silence of space, as the Iron Resolve disappeared into the dark, one truth remained. The galaxy was no longer ruled by old empires. It was ruled by fear of what humans might do next. The final message: the galaxy had seen wars before. Endless wars that burned stars and erased worlds. But never had it seen what one human warship did in a single day. The Iron Resolve had not just destroyed ships, it had destroyed certainty. The Vorok and Zyrel fleets were no longer fighting for victory. They were fighting out of fear, accusing one another of betraying their empires. Alliances shattered, captains broke ranks, and the war zone dissolved into chaos. Yet through the smoke and wreckage, the human warship kept moving forward. Its black hull reflected no light. Its engines whispered a steady hum. It moved with purpose, as if heading to an unseen destination. The Zyrel admiral, pale and trembling, gave the order no Zyrel had ever given. Do not follow, do not fire. Let it pass. His crew looked at him in shock, but none argued. They had seen too much. On the other side, the Vorok admiral sat in silence, claws clenched so tightly the chair beneath him cracked. Pride told him to fight, honor told him to strike. But survival whispered louder, stand down. He closed his eyes and gave no order. His fleet drifted, beaten without another shot fired. The Iron Resolve now reached the very heart of the war zone, where command stations of both empires watched from a safe distance. For the first time in history, Zyrel and Vorok eyes were fixed on the same threat. Not each other. And then it happened. The human ship stopped. Its weapons dimmed, its engines quieted, and its comms opened. Every ship, every station, every channel in the system crackled alive. A single image appeared across the galaxy. The face of Captain Rhodes. He stood in simple uniform, not decorated, not proud. His voice was steady, calm, but it carried weight like thunder. You have wasted centuries in endless war, he said. His words were translated into 100 alien tongues, echoing across thousands of ships. You believe yourselves rulers of the galaxy, but you are children playing with fire, the Zyrel hissed in anger. The Vorok growled in defiance, but none dared interrupt. Rhodes's eyes burned with quiet fire as he continued. Humanity is not here to conquer. We are not here to take your empires. But understand this, if you bring your wars to us, if you threaten our people, then remember what one ship has done today. He lifted his hand, and behind him the image shifted to the battlefield itself. Wreckage, flames drifting husks of once proud fleets. It was not a victory speech, it was a warning written in destruction. You call us weak, Rhodes said, his voice rising. You laugh at us, but you will never forget this day. For today you saw only one ship, and you do not know how many more wait in the dark. The words hit harder than any weapon. For that was the question no alien could answer. Was this ship alone, or was it the first of a fleet? Was Earth hiding hundreds of such warships waiting for the right moment? Doubt spread like poison. Rhodes lowered his hand. His final words carried across the stars. Simple and cold. Choose your wars carefully. Because the next time you see humanity's shadow, it may not be one ship, it may be an armada. And then your empires will be ashes. The transmission ended. The image faded. Silence filled the galaxy. For a long moment, no one moved, no one spoke. Even the fires of battle seemed quiet. Both the Vorok and the Zyrel stared at their screens. Trembling, each crew member carried the same thought. What if he is right? The Iron Resolve did not wait for answers. Its engines flared once more, and with a flash, the warship jumped into faster-than-light travel, disappearing into the endless dark. It left behind no allies, no empire to claim victory. Only fear on Zyrel worlds. Mothers whispered to their children, stay quiet, or the Terran warship will come. On Vorok stations, warriors spoke in hushed tones. If one ship could humble us, what will happen if they return? Across the galaxy, the legend grew. The humans had spoken only once, but that was enough. The galaxy trembled not because of what they had seen, but because of what they could not see. Humanity had revealed nothing of its true strength, it had only shown a shadow, and that shadow was enough to bring empires to their knees. In the great halls of alien rulers, in the darkest corners of space, one message echoed over and over again. A warning, a promise, a final truth. The age of ignoring humanity was over.